In the beginning of his gospel, Mark applies various Old Testament texts to both John the Baptist and his cousin Jesus. Mark 1 verse 2, "Look, I am sending my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way." And that's from Exodus 23 verse 20 and Malachi 3:1. Verse 3, "The voice of one shouting in the wilderness, prepare the way for the Lord, make his path straight," from Isaiah 40 verse 3. But Mark makes slight yet important changes to some of these texts from the Hebrew and Old Greek translation. For example, Mark changes Malachi 3 verse 1 from "prepare the way before me," originally in reference to Yahweh, Jehovah, the one God of Israel, to "prepare your way," now in reference to Jesus, the Son and Messiah of that one God. The reason for this change was to allow for a messianic interpretation of the text, as opposed to Mark using it to somehow prove Jesus was literally Yahweh, Jehovah. That would actually make one Yahweh too many, according to the Shema of Deuteronomy 6:4, which Jesus himself calls the most important of all the commandments in Mark 12, verse 29. Furthermore, the expositor's commentary notes that in Malachi 3:1, the messenger is called Adon, the Hebrew for Lord, and not Yahweh, because it is Yahweh of hosts who is speaking. The passage does not address the issue of his deity or humanity. That's probably a reference by the commentary to the God-man doctrine of later church councils, for to do so would be out of keeping with pre-New Testament revelation and raise insoluble problems for Malachi's hearers. So the real point of Mark's use of these Old Testament texts was to mark the beginning of the kingdom gospel as preached by both the Baptist and his cousin Jesus. And like the angel leading Israel through the desert in the Old Testament days, according to that Exodus 23 passage, and the messenger who prepares the way for the Lord in Malachi 3 verse 1, later identified as the prophet Elijah in Malachi 4 verse 5, John the Baptist is guided by that same Spirit that empowered them. This explains why Jesus says in Matthew 11, "For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John, and if you are willing to accept it, he is the Elijah who was to come." Matthew here is obviously not using the word "is" in a literal way. Instead, John is Elijah means that John manifested and embodied that same messianic prophetic spirit of the person of Elijah in the Old Testament. Similarly, we can say Jesus is Yahweh, meaning that Jesus manifested and embodied all the attributes and activities of the one God of Israel, that is, the Father of our Lord Christ.